Getting warm down here. I'm gonna have to shed this shirt before long. It was cool this morning. It was about 40 degrees this morning. It's done got up to about 55, 60 now. At any rate, hello. How are y'all doing today? I'm Seth Hill. I work under Bob as one of his beekeepers, and I got my bees on the side. We're down here in Hive, Georgia today. I brought them down here for a couple reasons. One was to get them started early, and the second is you get a lot. Well, it's another early start. You get an earlier mating. Your drones grow up sooner, so you can make queens sooner, and that's another reason I wanted to get down here. The main reason I brought them is because they were small. They were only about 2 or 3 frames of bees. They've grown, obviously. Some of them got a box last trip. Some of them are probably going to get a box this trip. Next trip, they're all going to get a second box, and they're going to get liquid feed in an in-hive feeder. They've had pollen coming in for about 2 months now. I brought them down December the 2nd, and that was right as the wild radish started blooming. For those of you who don't know what a wild radish is, it's also known as wild mustard. I forget the Latin on it, but if you're driving down 75 and you see an old plowed up cotton field or an old plowed up soybean field with yellow flowers in it, that's what you're looking at. It's a really good pollen source. I can see some of them on this double deep bringing in pollen now. I'll get a shot of that in a minute. So the name of the game today will be equalizing food and brood. Mainly trying to boost some of the small ones to make sure they've got what they need to survive. And then the big ones, just making sure they've got food and maybe knocking them back a few frames to keep them under control. These double deeps will be in good shape. As we know, if you watch Bob's channel, double deeps have a lot of room. They've got a lot more assets, so they can stay in the box, feel like they can stay in the box longer. Big singles will probably get knocked back more than these guys will. Like I said, eventually they're all going to be a double deep. My plan with these is to slowly turn them all into a double deep. This trip, some of them will probably get a box. And then the next trip, they're all going to get a box. I think I said that already. And then later on, let's see. The second weekend in March, they're going to get split with queen cells, 2 frames of brood and a frame of food. And we're going to leave the mother colonies with probably about 4 frames of brood. And I'm going to knock all the mother colonies back into a single. And they're going to be for sale. $200 probably-ish range. They're going to have an older queen in them. They're going to have last year's queen. It's going to be all new frames, a used box, a new lid, and a new-ish box, possibly a new-ish or /used bottom board. That's the package. I'm going to try to sell those down here if I can. If not, it's not a big deal. I'll haul them back home and sell them, or, you know, do whatever with them, make them honey producers. But anyway, let's get into some beehives. All right, let's see if we can get a good angle here. I'm not real good with the tripod. I'm used to holding it and Bob doing all the talking. Anyway, let's see what we got going on here. So like I said, I brought these guys down the 1st of December. Holy crap. That thing needs a box. Wow, I don't know if y'all can see that or not. That was probably, I don't remember exactly how big it is. I don't have notes. I might take that camera off the tripod real quick. That thing's, let me look at this. Now don't get me wrong, it's not clustered. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 7 frames of bees as is. That's interesting. There's one with pollen on their legs. I'll see if I can get a shot of some pollen here before long. Let's pop the box and see what we got going on. Ooh, they're light. Ooh, that's light. Yeah. There's a better shot of the amalgamation at the bottom. Yeah, that's impressive. That's very impressive. I'm gonna leave that with a box. It's big, it's sassy. This pallet's already mostly double deep, so I'm just gonna go ahead and throw them a box. I got boxes of food with a feeder on the truck. What I'm gonna do is just come back, and I can just come back out of the top box and take a frame or two. Let me go get that real fast. Let's look at some brood. Ooh, they're light. Wow. I don't know if you guys can see this or not. There's a few of them with pollen. They've chewed that side up. I'm gonna put the feeder in the bottom just to go ahead and start the process of turning it into a double deep. Wow, that's a pretty good frame of food. That's not gonna last them very long though. Let's count how many broods we got in this guy. The singles, to my knowledge, there's a frame of brood with a lot of pollen around the rim. Yeah, that's pretty. All right, so we got one brood-ish. I'm gonna call that a half brood. That's a full-fledged brood. Young hatching bees. That would be a good frame to boost with, as long as the queen's not on there. I see some young and some larvae in there in the center. Flip it over, you got the same thing, I think. Yeah, there's young in there. Yeah, man, they're doing good. Doing real good. All right, so 1.5. Yeah. 2.5, that's a full frame of brood. And as I'm going right now, I'm gonna look for my queen. Oh, there she is right there. Whoop, come here, baby. She's camera shy. So I'm gonna go ahead and give her a yellow dot. I had a few white dots hanging out in here, but at any rate, yeah, pretty. Tell you what I am gonna do, since I know where she's at, I'm gonna find a really good frame of brood with some hatching bees on it and save it for a colony that needs a frame of brood. And that is, I'll leave that. There's a good patch of milk brood on the other side of the frame there. And bees, keep the bees on it too. Just the brood doesn't quite work this time of the year. That one is not quite hatching. You want to be really good in hatching, that way it can maintain itself during the brood cycle. I say during the brood cycle. There's a good frame. There's a good one. Lots of hatching bees are about to be hatching in a day or two. Most of that's already hatched. Ow. First sting of the day. Get off of me, golly. There's a lot of milk brood on that side. There's a lot of hatching on that side, so that might go to a little bit of a stouter colony. But anyway, go ahead and stick the feeder in here, down below. I'm gonna scrunch this up. Like I said, we're not gonna be feeding. Ooh, sorry bees. We're just gonna be kind of staging for the set and ready process. Ouch. Okay. Alright, I'm gonna go get a box to put that in. You don't want to leave it in the sun, so I'm just gonna kind of do that number right there, and I'll be right back. Pollen, pollen, pollen. Every like third bee's got pollen on her day. So anyway, I'm gonna open these guys up. And there is what we're looking at. Drone brood. I don't know if y'all can see that very well or not. That's what they look like. after 2 months of being down here. That was probably 4 or 5 frames of bees 2 months ago. They grew up. They grew up. There's some drone brood right there. Man, this filming by yourself stuff's hard. But anyway, I'm gonna get some frames out of the top here. Show y'all what those look like. Put the camera back down. Alright. Cool. So anyway, as I was saying, that one's got drone brood in it. I'm sure these other double deeps, those were obviously the biggest ones last time. That's a food-ish frame. This one needs feed today. Look at that. Drone brood, drones. Lots of drones. Oddly enough. Oh, they uncapped that guy. Why'd y'all do that? This queen's doing a bang-up job. I am going to knock her back a little bit. Probably just take a few frames of brood out of the top here. Look around in the bottom and see what they got going on. And just replace maybe 2 frames of brood with some comb. That way she can get up in there and relay and get going again. There we go. There's a little bit of food. They haven't quite worked up into the top box yet. See, that's a solid slab of food. Just a shake, make sure there's nobody important on there. Like I say, they got some food, but not a whole lot. They got a frame of brood right there. You kind of want to watch for those. They're barely working their way up in there. You don't want to separate that. So we'll put a little bit of food right there. And we'll put some comb in the middle of this one to get them going up into the top box. Once again, check myself, shake. If it's food, you don't have to have the bees. Brood, you want the bees. I've already opened these once. This is a camera worthy moment. That is 2 months down here. 2 months. That's a box of bees. That's 8 frames of bees solid in a cluster. Easy. Maybe 7. Maybe 7. Either way, that's 2 months from 3 frames of bees. That one I'm gonna knock back just a little bit. Maybe even 2 frames. If I can find 2 frames to give away. So I'm just gonna flip the lid upside down and go through this whole pallet. If we find any weak ones or dead ones, if we find a dead one, we'll just stack it on top with a feeder. Like, see, this one needs a boost. That's a decent food frame, not that great. They look small, but now that I'm looking at them, they're about 7 frames of bees. You know, not clustered or anything, but they got it going on. Matter of fact, I think that one's the perfect size, so I'm just going to let it ride. It's got 3 or 4 frames of brood in it. I'm going to let that one ride as is. So that one is done without even having to do. Let's go to these other 2. Make sure the camera's good and focused there. Singles are more fun, doubles are easier. It's just, you know, the game we play. There's another big one. That one's got bees to the wall on both sides, which is, you know, 7 frames, 8 frames. That's what I'm starting to see the majority of. Brood, 4 to 5 frames-ish, on 4 or 5 frames-ish. That's just, and it's got some weight. It's not in danger of starving. I would like them to have a little more food, but it looks like I'm just gonna have to, go for it in a couple weeks with some liquid feed, which is fine. Oh, look at that. They're rearing drones. That's incredible. Cap drone brood. This is unreal. All my double deeps have drone brood in them. And this is the only single so far, but I think that's because it's got a green frame. That one needs knocked back for sure. That's going to swarm in the next month if it's not attended to. But whenever we find a small one, I'm just flipping the lids upside down to signify it's a donor. If it's dead, I'll stack it and call it a day. Put a little bit of food in there in the top box. Oh, this one could probably be a recipient from the looks from the top. And then I've got a few back there that still need a few odds and ends, so this is the time to dig into those real good. Imagine, yeah, see, this has only got probably 3 frames of brood in it, which is fine. I'm not even complaining, none in the least. There's a queen cage. Lazy beekeepers. That's a frame of pollen. Ow. Right in the cuticle. Those are fun. So this is a literal frame of pollen. I don't know if y'all can get a good view of that. But there's a frame of pollen with a little bitty speck of brood. If we look to the back side, there's a little bit of capped brood there. There's the queen right there. Let's see if I can do some creative film work here. The queen is right there. There she is. Of course she's going to stay in the shadow where you can't see her. She's there. Cool. Anyway. Ooh, she's dark. Which is good. So what I'm going to do is, now that I'm looking at all these singles, they're massive. I'm going to scoot her over. I'm actually going to let this one ride as well, but I'm going to give it some food out of one of these double deeps back here. So as we go down the line, I'll try to film a little bit what I can. That's basically what we're up to, moving brood around, food, and a little bit of everything. That's where I killed that black widow last time. That was fun. I hate spiders, by the way. Look at that. Not quite the amount of drone brood I've been seeing, but it's a box of bees, y'all. I mean, that's 2, 4, 6, 2, 4, 6. That's 12 frames of bees. Versus, you know, I stacked a box on them last time and there were 5 frames of bees. And this is the end result. That's mind-blowing to me. Doing a few cups, nothing in them. Cups is not necessarily a time or a sign, excuse me, that they're ready to leave. It's more of a, it's kind of like when the economy's up and you're building a house and you're building a barn and you're working on the play car. It's like a sign of wealth or confidence. Confident, you know, I don't know if confidence is the right word. They're feeling good. They're in the mood. Mother Nature's on their side for once. And they're, you know, they're doing it. And that looks perfectly bang up to me. It's got some weight, so I'm going to let that one ride. I might put a feeder in the bottom of it just to get it set up. And as I'm swapping this comb out, I'm generating, well, there's food in both boxes. I'm generating comb, so I'm actually making a box I can stack on a good single. That way they're already set up in the double deep formation we want them in. That was I'm having to keep everything covered. They're trying to rob real bad. Hard to keep them from not robbing with oh so holy equipment. But anyway, and that one's dead. When there's cockroaches and ants crawling in there, that's probably a pretty good sign that, yep, that done got robbed out. But that's okay, because we can stick a feeder in that and stick it on top of something and be good to go. So that one's dead. This one is good. Needs a boost. So I'm going to go ahead and stick a frame of brood. We don't have a lot of food. We got some. Oh, wow. Oh, that was water. Okay, I was about to say that's splashing nectar, but it was just water. These Caucasians, I tell you, they make the propolis. I'll move that food closer to the nest. That's amazing. So these are a little on the small side for what we've been seeing. So that's why I'm gonna go ahead and give them. They're big enough to take a decent sized frame of brood. As long as it's hatching, they'll be fine. So I'm gonna go find them one real fast and I'll be right back. All right, I'm gonna stick that one in there. Turn the lid back upside down because they could lose one more frame of brood. So here's what I got. I shook some of the bees off. Double check for my queen twice. I always like to double check, recheck, and check again. Unless Bob tells me to hurry up. But anyway, so that's what we're looking at. And that one's gonna go right down the middle there. I'm gonna take a frame out so I don't squish anybody. Anytime you can give them more space, the better. When you're sliding frames in and out, that is. That one with the pollen right there in the middle is gonna do great on both sides of that brood nest. Gonna be hatching bees, immediate room for her to lay. After those bees hatch, that's the ideal boost. Okay, and next time we come, they should be ready for a box. So, there we go. Hold on, let's investigate the goods here. Oh, nope. We got a big old laying worker right here. Yeah, so that sucks. She might have died on the way down. She might have been failing. I probably killed her. There's a multitude of things that can happen. But anyway, I'm gonna show you what we're gonna do with this box. Take these guys and just shake them out. They're no good. They're laying worker like that. There's no saving them. In my point of view, you can. I don't know how. In my point of view, it's a waste of time and energy. Anyway, I'm gonna go down the line. I'm gonna see if I can't find me a good single to stack that thing on and just get it ready to be set up as a double deep. Now that there's no bees in it, the big single will just be able to take the box, and all these bees will crawl into this double deep right next to it. And not quite. I'm just going through so I can get rid of that box real fast. That's a pretty dang stout one. So what I'm gonna do is I'm not gonna go in. I'm gonna leave the feeder in the top just to make this fast. I'm gonna try to finish them up before the robbing gets too bad. It looks like they're starting to set in pretty good. I'm gonna get a drink of water and go at it real fast. So I found another laying worker. What I'm gonna do, instead of knocking this monster back so far, I'm gonna leave them stout. That thing is a freaking hoss. They're also very ill. Ooh, ah. Okay, we got everybody squared up, equalized, a little bit of food in everybody. I'm definitely gonna have to be back in 2 weeks. These guys are busting at the seams for the most part. There's a few small singles yet, but they're few and far between. Lost a few more, stacked them on top, made double deeps for the big singles, so we're setting purty as far as I'm concerned. We'll see y'all on the flip side. Over and out.